Mayor Parker, when we look at this jobs number, many people are saying, well, it's a slight negative. But for you in the city of Houston that has been hit so hard by the oil slump, what does it really look like?
We think it's a slight negative as well, but we continue to grow. Our economy continues to expand at about half the rate it was, but we're still in a growth mode, albeit a slow growth mode. What people have to understand is that we are a headquarters city for oil and gas, and a lot of while there have been layoffs here, more hard hit are the field operations.
How hard hit have you been in Houston? I mean, you have a lower unemployment rate than the national average, but you still have obviously a reliance on these industries. How tough has it been, the slide in prices?
It's a concern, but it's not a crisis by any means. Again, our economy continues to expand, and our unemployment rate has had a slight uptick, but barely measurable. We are still about 40% dependent on oil and gas. I spent 20 years working in the oil industry before I entered politics, and that was 80% of the economy when I was in the industry. Our other big sectors have been doing very well. Medicine is a huge sector for the city of Houston. We're also America's largest import-export port. The port is doing extremely well, and then our other sector is manufacturing.
And where
exactly
we're one of the fastest
growing manufacturing regions?
Obviously not in the oil industry, but when you say the economy is growing slightly, where specifically?
Manufacturing and medicine. But the Port of Houston as well. We have both the import and the export side here, and both of those are beginning to expand. And so there's enough in the broader economy besides oil and gas that's allowing us to continue to expand. But only at about 2%, so half what we were.
In a recent speech, you looked at the oil slump and said, as it relates to the Houston economy, it's just a pothole in the road. Give us more specifics, just given how big the oil industry has been. When we say manufacturing, medicine, how do those two industries really get big enough that they can help weather this oil storm?
They can't offset by themselves the impact of lower oil prices, but oil prices have stabilized in recent weeks. All of our indicators are mixed. Oil is about 40% of our economy, but as I said, a lot of the impact of the oil prices hit first in the field operations. Rig counts going down, slowdowns in hiring of personnel out in the field. Here there's been some retrenchment, and a lot of the companies seem to be using it as an opportunity to prune. One of the things they have done, though, is increasingly relied on temporary workers as there was a rapid ramp-up in hiring, and it's a lot of those temporary workers that have been laid off, and so there's a shifting.
Mayor, I want to break away from the oil tie for a second. You've done some innovative things in Houston to achieve growth in other industries. A lot of people won't know that Houston's one of the most diverse cities in the country. How do you integrate all of the people that come into Houston from outside? I know that you have a great, for example, non-English speaking educational program.
1 in 5 Houstonians, and approaching 1 in 4 Houstonians, is foreign-born. And you can spend all day in Houston and speak any number of Asian languages. We really have people from all over the world here. We have to focus on, for their kids, English as a second language, very robust programs for that. But we have 3 distinct populations. We have expats, largely brought in by the oil industry. We have immigrants who are coming, the best and the brightest from around the world, and then we have refugees. We're one of the largest refugee resettlement areas in America. The good news for those who come here is that Houston's a very welcoming place, and the economy has been able to absorb them with a range of low-skilled jobs all the way up to the high-skilled, high-tech jobs that we have here.
I wonder also, you recently got married. It doesn't seem like Texas is the kind of place that would be accepting of gay marriage, but now obviously the entire nation has to look at this as an equal, as an equality issue. How do you deal with being in the state of Texas and still dealing with these issues?
And with a governor like Greg Abbott.
Yeah.
Well, I have a professional relationship with the representatives of other levels of government. We have to agree to disagree on this one, and now that equal marriage is simply marriage, it's no longer gay marriage, it's the law of the land, they're going to have to get over it. I had to go out of state in order to marry 18 months ago, and I'm happy to have my marriage recognized in the city that I lead.
Mayor Parker, so are we. So any representatives who aren't comfortable, hashtag get over it.